Keith paints.
Hey folks, welcome back to Keith Prints. Today, we're taking a look at October releases for 100 different 3D printing Patreon campaigns. Patreon is a pretty slow site sometimes, so I mostly used stltop.com to sort through them all, and I noticed that I missed a few. So this isn't the top 100, but they are ordered in number of patrons, starting at the bottom this time. Stick around to the end for a lightning round of an additional 20 Patreon campaigns. Also, a quick content warning. Some of these images include pinup models or models objectified in other ways. If you would like to know more about the effects of objectification on society, there is a link in the description to my last video. So with that, let's check out number 100 on our list. Mushrooms and bigger mushrooms, and mushroom folk and bigger mushroom folk have all been growing on Noximus's tabletop. Also, unrelated to the corruption of the Moors is this mounted pumpkin head. Cyberpsychosis is infecting the Cult of the Pickle's October release, including a walker and some creepy robots, as well as some cyberpunk-themed bases and scatter terrain. Amongst others, Ilhadiel has released a Lion Guard, Wild Guard, and Wild Guard Cavalry this month. All modular as usual, but also Battle Cats. Battle Cats, people. Battle Cats. Mojibale Miniatures has Rise of the Kyoushunelo, Mesoamerican-themed temple scenery with open-lock compatible tiles, and Tabaxi-themed temple guardsmen. Here are 3 spooktacular beasts for the month of October from Rocket Pig Games offshoot Death Haven. A multi-level temple, and a multi-level house from Dadi, Dungeon, and Dintorni. Also, bookshelves with removable books. I haven't seen any public October release material from Epic Adventure Miniatures yet, but here are 2 from September that came out after last month's video. I haven't seen anything for October yet from Zandoria Studios either, but here are the rest of the ninja gnomes from last month, one with Kama, and the other with Hyoketsu Shogi for weapons. Supernatural and Halloween themes from Grimm this month. Fancy some calamari at the Taco Taco King? Thunderchrome has some hab blocks for your sci-fi cities this month. There's an underwater theme for Clinch's October release, with a shark, a sea monster, and merfolk. They've also been posting about this Panda People Kickstarter they're working on, so you might check them out just for that. Only one public image so far from Legend Builds this month. This is Ring, the Thief, though he thinks of himself more as a taker of things that aren't his. I could only show a preview of this Kitsune in September's video from Labradorite Wolf. We also got an army squirrel last month, and for October, a Megaloceros Paraton. Battle Yak Miniatures presents The Dynasty of Null, Undying Warriors animated by Necrotechnology. They have a female leader too, but she was on her own sheet, and I decided not to show it because these images look really great, and I would have to censor part of that one anyway. Steampunk power armor from Hero Spawn Spot, with black powder piston armor-piercing hammers, shock-absorbing shields, and repeating cannons and handguns, followed by Matas Kruper himself, the man whose metallurgy made it all possible. Master Treya Sinde and others from the Ancient Order in this month's October release from Black Remnant. This is apparently the result of Velrock Art's Green Knight preview I showed you last month. Not sure why they're so dark. I lightened these ones up so you could see them. They've also been releasing multiple models every week this month, so definitely check them out. I haven't seen anything yet for October, but here's one last piece from Studio DR for the end of September. Living up to their name, Peculiar Companions are making Turkic Mongol-themed dark elves, and are well on their way to completing an entire army. Colossal Miniatures hasn't made a public post of their October release yet, but here are more modern-day survivors that came out at the end of September. A quick look at September's release from 3D Hexes. It wasn't ready for the last video. And for October we have the Boneyard of Titans and the Arcane Cogs sets, both of which I like quite a bit. Big Mr Tong has been working on a bunch of different things. Gaslands / Dark Future sidecars, 15mm Marines and Beaky helmets, modular fantasy guardsmen, and this LE10 classic power armor. This month, Filippo Giovanni has released 3 lovely centaurs ready for battle, and 3 Halloween-themed minis, a scarecrow, a vampire girl, and a witch. From Crippled God Foundry, the Cult of Zargon is attempting to summon their banished demon god, and these 3 heroes are charged with the task of preventing it. Do you have what it takes? Sable Badger has released a bunch of work since last video, including some sci-fi signposts, skull-based tea-light braziers, a cursed altar, and even his first minis, these mummies. There's more too, go check out his page. 4 more fabulous pop culture busts from 3D printing with Rollin. Last month, I could only show you a preview of Outrageous Creations' Immortal Saint model. Here's the finished work, as well as a preview of what they're working on for October. There's bears in Nickey's hatchery. I'm gonna guess the Rhino Beast is the Thumper, and that Earthshakers are powerful dwarven elemental mages. Modular dwarves from Kyoushunelo Miniatures, a Rune Lord, and the High King, with ceremonial thrones and throne bearers. Dwarves and Trolls have come from Print and Paint's Epic October HILLTOP expedition, a whole squad of female soldiers standing ready for war. Also, a Humvee with seated modern male soldiers. Gloomy Kid Minis has released their Might and Magic set with Ifrit, Serpent Flies, and Elementals. Orc King is making Iron Skin Orcs for Orktober, including 5 warriors, a war boss, and a war boss on an Orc Dragon. It's part 2 of the Bullywug Brigade coming from Warplock Miniatures this month, this time with flying beetle mounts. I really like these guys, I think they're super cute. Bite the Bullet presents Cultists of the Ancients this month, modular hooded acolytes, and some occult-themed terrain. Aether Studios has posted a lot this month, including more of the catacombs from last month, sci-fi tiles, and large terrain pieces. A man in a blood-stained lab coat haunts the dungeons of Scarfield Castle. A ghost haunts its groves. Is it the wife of the Lord, Irene Scarfield? And what monsters lurk in the shadows of Great Grimoire's October release? Witches, devils, doctors, and the undead. It's a Halloween theme from Onmyoji this month. RG Sculpt is working on modular fire giants this month. Just one image so far this month from Tiger Skull RPG, a mounted warrior of the Disciples of the Watch. It's mostly goblins from Titan Troll Miniatures so far this month, including a couple of busts. This month from Bombshell Miniatures is Classic Valkyries, starting off with Brunhild, with more soon to come. Psionic Squidmen, Robed Cultists, and Eldritch Horrors from Goon Master Games. A ranger with torches, fending off a dark king and his dark henchmen in the Fentop ruins. Waylay at Fentop is the next chapter from The Printing Goes Ever On. Bright Minis has been releasing werewolves and zombies in October, to be hunted by the paladins and clerics they released at the end of September. Capsule Chibi doesn't have public posts on their Patreon page. I found these two pics on Facebook before closing Facebook because it's Facebook. You guys should make public posts on Patreon. Some basaltic and bony terrain from Tsarli Factory. A Death Rider, a werewolf named Wilhelm, and a Naga Queen from Creature Armory. Code 2 posted the first public pics of their September content on October 3rd, with 2 of them being available until the 15th, a week before this video comes out. I guess in November, I'll show you October's content that you won't be able to get anymore. A colossal battle automata from That Evil One, as well as a nice set of heavy bolt cannons, or whatever. Anakin and Ahsoka, Luke with Yoda on his back? What more could you ask for? Thanks, SEB Miniatures. Schlossbauer releases a large number of free minis, often with a special version reserved only for Patreon backers. Lion Tower Miniatures released way too many Paladin variations for me to show you them all. Go check out their Patreon page if you'd like to see more. Baxter and Krang are coming for you from Prey Collection Studio. Also a dinosaur and a couple dinosaur head trophies. Last month I reported on a possible mushroom invasion over at Epics and Stuff. I don't think it went all that well, as this month's release seems to be only graveyard terrain. Hopefully somebody lived to tell the tale. Here's a succubus from the end of September from Yasashi E. Kyojin. Also, here's Oral's Crone, and a work in progress for a Dragolith. A full army of 10mm minis from Forest Dragon this month, led by a sinister necromancer, a fearsome vampire mounted atop an undead steed. We have light skelly infantry, a pack of ravening ghouls, and giant bats for those damn elves to contend with. Zhu Zhen, by Cobra Mode, is the master of his guild, and these are the imprisoned souls of his former master and his former master's successor. The Mortuary Guild are untouchable necromancers, which explains the skeleton Hanzaki. A paladin with a guitar? That's my kind of paladin. Also, a Spore Queen from Twin Goddess Miniatures. Whispers of Frozen Tundra from Papsikels Miniatures, as well as a nicely varied cyberpunk package. SEB Six Fingers plate is full with guards and werewolves for him to evade. Perhaps he can hide out in this hobbit hole, all for 1 gold piece. I missed them last month, so here's a look at SEB and a different set of guards and werewolves all painted up. It's October, so naturally, Gear Guts' mech shop has way more pictures than I can show you. Tanks, trucks, artillery, and orcs and orcs and orcs. Ill-Gotten Games doesn't have a typical monthly release cycle, but they're nearing completion of their Pocket Tactics tabletop game. Anita the Young Witch and her Witch's Familiar, a Pumpkin Scarecrow, and Oel the Dragon in 2 different sculpts from White Werewolf Tavern. A warband of 12 undead, and another of 3 winged Valkyries from Asgard Rising, as well as a nice variety of village-themed terrain. So far, just this early work in progress from Dark Realms, but it looks like it should be pretty epic when complete. Here's the final preview of The Last Turtle from September from Manuel Boria, a bard, as well as a work in progress for October's Hook Horror, which seems to have earned the nickname the Doom Turkey. Gamescape 3D has put out a large Goblin Fort model, as well as some ruined walls and rubble scatter terrain. Shrika, Death's Spellweaver from Ritual Casting this month, 1/10 scale busts and statuettes with many different options, including SFW and NSFW versions. These demons from Bestiarum Miniatures are, quote, lust demons, intended to be provocative, end quote. I would say they succeeded. Epic Miniatures has released a large set of models as part of their 8th set. Most recently this Ice Golem, these Snowmen, and this Hunting Hut, and all these ones before that. Giant worms from Print Your Monsters, as well as some nice desert scatter terrain. That's actually the same naked woman from last month. I'm not sure how she survived the swamp creatures and the giant spiders, but those sandworms are really going to tear into her, if she doesn't bake in the sun first. The Dark Knights are coming from Highland Miniatures Underworld, with Lady Violet, the Spectral Widow. Saurus, Hero of the Temple Guard, along with a command group, regiment of soldiers, and 2 different versions of a giant Tyroscutus. Here's a modular house that Masterwork Tiles put out at the end of September, and a sacrificial dais is the first model from October. Remember, OpenForge is free, so definitely check these guys out. It's a lady and a wolf, done up in fantasy and sci-fi, with 3D Art Guy's Badass Ladies pack, and badass they are. The Dragon's Rest is adding some fan pattern cobblestone tiles to their fantasy-themed harbor and piers pack this month, and some magnetizable tiles and floor grates to their Hero Quest pack. Apparently, last month for Monstrous Encounters, I just showed previews of October's release. Here are more of it: Men-at-Arms, Bowmen, Elf Heroes, and on the sci-fi side, House Umbra Set 2. Got prisoners you need to deal with? Vivictus Miniatures has everything you need: cages, wagons, guillotines, and Iron Maidens, including lizard guards and a big bad executioner. Some high-quality mythical beasts and trappers to catch them from Dragon Trapper's Lodge, including a rhino turtle and a tigerfolk hero with a winged mount. RN Studio is sailing the high seas with pirates this month, including a giant sea monster, as well as some savages from the Legacy Vault. Squirrini alchemists, frogfolk of all sorts, and otter spellcasters, as well as pumpkins good and evil. Check out Duncan Shadow's October release. Clay Cyanide is doing an Egyptian theme this month with guards, soldiers, and a whole pantheon of gods. Beast hunters and beasts for them to hunt from Comet Lord Miniatures, including busts as usual. The Yuan Ti from Printed Obsession, serpent people in varying degrees of anthropomorphism. Unit 9 presents Blackstone Commandos, future soldiers, including a giant 2-person mech suit. I had words for Gomek last month, and I'm pretty sure it's just coincidence, but his female sculpts have been toned down, and the pinups are posed more like pinups, and he made some really nice promotional images. All steps in the right direction. Much appreciated. Golems and demons and mongrel things, monsters galore for your 5th edition campaigns from Rocket Pig Games in October. Here is just a small selection of the 25 model collection Mia K released this month, titled Women of Tabletop. Dragons and dinosaurs are the flavor of the month from Lord of the Print, and whatever these creepy things are. Undead and Egyptian are two themes that go well together. Lost Kingdom's October release includes Khufu's funeral barge, an amazing undead elephant, and anthropomorphic undead heroes. Great proxies, as usual, from the Maker's Cult, including Land Raiders, Deathcore, and Heretic Bikers. Pay a visit to the Court of the Undead in Mini Monster Mayhem's Twisted Castle, with jesters, knights and soldiers, zombies, and a monumental eternal ruler. Cast and Play presents the Lost Cave Collection, cave-themed tiles and scatter terrain with some pretty scary monsters to subject your players to. The gangs of Titan City to oppose last month's police force, including a biker bar with staff, renegade emergency medical workers, and a new fire team and walker for the police side. The Circus Grotesque from Archvillain Games, with minis and statues in a range of sizes. If I had to guess, I would say these minis are all roughly in scale with each other, so those big ones are pretty big. Heroes Infinite presents Halloween's Carnival Circus, including circus performers, a coven of witches, a lich so large her dress is the circus tent, and a really fantastic pumpkin monster. MZ4250 has updated all of his Curse of Strahd models. There are so many, I just don't have time to show you them all. The Rakshakeen Headhunters are a large assortment of Arabian-themed tiger folk, including awesome female sculpts in every group presented, not just the pinup style models. Great to see. A heroic squad of vampire hunters has arrived from Titanforge, including characters, chariots, an angry mob, and a cathedral. Also, Series 5 of Titans of Adventure. And that was 100 different 3D printing Patreon campaigns. As I mentioned, I noticed I had missed a few in the process, so here are an additional 20 Patreon campaigns with just an image and a name. Last Sword Miniatures, Cursed Forge Miniatures, Void Realm Minis, Roleplaying Miniatures, Model Monster, Dragon Workshop, Imperium Art, Panzer Printer, Evocateurs Miniature, Aetherion, Gangfight Games, Maddox Historical Miniatures, Maddox Tabletop Miniatures, Heroes and Beasts Miniatures, Clay Demon Miniatures, 2 Gargoyles Studio, Red Nebular, Hedon Kiwi Miniatures, Edge Miniatures, and Omega Models. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you made it all the way to the end, then consider liking and subscribing, or maybe leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.